Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwaraha. Guru Reva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike. Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samsita. Namastasya, 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 namo namaha. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche. Om Durga Durga Rakshini Tata Swaha. Om Namah Shivaya Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 29th of March, 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great enlightened beings, sages, and to Bhagavan residing in the heart of every single being. We have been examining the verse number 39 from Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4. The verse is as follows: Shraddhavan labate jnanam, Shraddhavan labate jnanam, tatparaha sayatendriyaha, jnanam labdva param shantim achirena dhigacchati. This is the actual verse. I want to present this a bit further in terms of the experiences of human life. See, Bhagavad Gita is actually about living in the fray of diversity of human life. It doesn't really talk too much about getting secluded and doing abstract meditation. There is some teaching about that, but not a whole lot. It's mostly about living inside the regular frame of life and being able to maintain equanimity, stability, sthita pragnata, while performing one's duty, and at the same time being non-reactive in performing one's duty. Now, how is that possible? Think about the case of Arjuna, who has to fight this war. I mean, he's a Kshatriya. This Updesha is to him and then eventually to all of humanity. He has to fight a terrible war, kill people actually. Think about that. And he has to maintain equanimity. He has to maintain complete balance, the Atmagnan, Paramatma Gnan, all that stuff he has to maintain while performing all of his actions. Can you imagine this? Just picture this scenario. How difficult is that? But it is the ultimate standard that to fight against an injustice is dharma. To tolerate an injustice is not dharma, that is another injustice. But how do you fight against it? If you look at the Kaurava-Pandava conflict in the Mahabharata, they tried everything to find peace. Whatever it was, they made some mistakes on their side also. That whole gambling episode and whatever had happened that led to all of that. Whatever it was, but Bhagavan Krishna, he also went as a peacemaker, as a Shanti Dut, asking only for 5 villages to avoid this terrible war. So you have to avoid conflict and war and all these things as much as possible. But a point comes where it becomes unavoidable. What do you do? Then that is where the Gita actually begins. Because Arjuna is saying that I don't want to fight this war at all. And he's saying, he's telling Krishna, why you're asking me to fight this thing? This is going to cause so much terrible. So if you look at his arguments in chapter 1, anybody analyzing those arguments will say Arjuna is right. This should not be done. That's what you will feel. But Krishna says you're speaking as if you're a wise person. You cannot see the reality. You're in a state of delusion. You don't know what's going on. You have to fight this war. And that is interesting. What does this mean? It doesn't mean that we are taking arms and fighting wars with people. That's not the meaning behind this. I mean, maybe in some situations, countries battle and all that. That's a different matter. But there are situations in our own lives where some wrong information is talked about, like happens in families, in extended families, one person starts talking about somebody else and somebody else and somebody, and then it spins and spins and stuff like this happens. It can happen in a lot of different ways. The question is, what is one's duty? You see? What is one's duty in the situation? This is the key teaching, one of the key teachings of Sri Krishna, that perform your karma, but karma meaning duty. What is the duty to perform? So in this verse, Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparah sayatendriyaha, that the mind and the senses are extremely steady due to jnana. That gyan in our day-to-day life is what is to be done today. Where is my life headed? What decisions am I supposed to make? That is all part of this jnana, and it comes out of Shraddha also. It comes out of Shraddha because it's also faith in oneself, faith in God, and faith in the right path. Faith in the right path, that this is the right path, that wisdom comes through dhyana, through meditation, through sadhana. That what is the right action to perform at the right time, given the situation, circumstances, etc. And it's not easy. It is definitely not easy, but this is why the Gita's teachings are talking about maintaining that absolute balance from inside. Sthita pragnasya ka bhasha. The sthita pragna means intelligence, buddhi. Sthita means steady. Keep the intellect extremely steady, still, and perform the activity. It's not that is the challenge. That is the challenge of life, because what happens in our lives, our own mind tangles us. Maneva manushanam karanam bandhamokshayo. We start thinking about something that happened before this, that. We get stuck right internally. Our shakti gets distorted. So we don't want that to happen. The point is, because life is so short, it's limited. There's only so much time left. Nobody knows how much that is, but that's fact. What is the doorway into that param ananda? Achirenadi gacchati. Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparah sayatendriya jnanam labdva param shantim achirenadi gacchati. Life is short. It is limited. But there is so much to be developed in this. And one of the key points here is that jnanam, that Bhagavan Krishna is saying, it liberates the individual from all kinds of disturbance, from all kinds of confusion. It liberates. Jnana means, the real jnana, the highest jnana, is that I am Brahman. I am the Atman. I am consciousness. Well, if that's the case, the equanimity in praise and blame. 5 people praise Sachin, 5 people blame Sachin. Some good things are said, some bad things are said. Some this is said, some that is said. Some false things are said, some true things are said. Whatever is said, whatever is not said, whatever happens, absolute steadiness. That happens when you realize the Atma. The Atma is not affected by praise, blame, old age, death, the changes in Prakriti. The Atma is the witness. The Atma is the steady consciousness. And when a sage, a rishi means a sage who has realized the Atma. When one has gone into the Atma, one can see easily, without any problem, the play of Prakriti. And one remains free from that. It is a play of Prakriti only. The gunas are functioning within the gunas. In chapter 3 of the Gita, there is that verse, the 3 gunas of Maya are playing within themselves only. Amazing. And that's a realization. The Sattva gun, Rajogun, Tamogun is playing within itself. So, for example, let's say someone gives a good compliment to Sachin, which happens from time to time, and somebody might give a negative compliment, or negative statement, which has also happened in the past in different ways, right? It's okay. But the experience inside, I have to watch. What is my experience inside? The fact that person is speaking, that is part of Prakriti. Somebody sometimes comes to us with a lot of anger, agitation, frustration. It happens. That is a play of Prakriti only, not the Atma. And to see beyond the play of Prakriti is Brahma Vidya. You see, so play of Prakriti is at multiple levels, from our individual lives and other dimensions, all the way up to cosmic, transcosmic level. That is why when we do Navaran Mantra, when we worship Devi, we're asking her to keep the problems of Prakriti away from us, because we don't want them, because we will get stuck inside of them. We want her to liberate us from the problems of Prakriti and to open the doorway into super consciousness, higher consciousness, into liberation, not be further entangled inside Prakriti. See, that is the whole point of even the manifestation, the creation that is present. Why has God created anything at all? So we can get out of it and be liberated from it, not so we can be stuck there. It's like, take the example of a high school. Why is a high school present? So that somebody in 9th grade can just remain in 9th grade the whole life? No, to get out of 9th grade. The purpose of 9th grade is to get out of 9th grade. But with a good grade, with good grades, knowledge, not to disrespect the 9th grade, respect it, but not to be stuck there. What is the purpose of Grahastha Ashram? To move out of that into pure Vairagya, not to be stuck there. What is the purpose of family? So that we can experience it and move beyond it into Vasudeva Kutumbakam. What is the purpose of the different difficulties, obstacles, problems, challenges that come, so that we can learn from them, grow from them, and move ahead? In a general sense, every experience of Prakriti is there so we can go beyond it. It doesn't matter which experience it is. Every experience. It's every experience. Even eating a small piece of mango or a small grape, that is also a small fruit. That is also experience of Prakriti. So we can learn from it, see its dimension, and evolve into the Brahman even from that. From everything. In all three avasthas, waking, dream, deep sleep state. That is Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. That the Shraddha towards the highest of the consciousness, highest of reality, that begins to open with the science of living in the world of Prakriti without binding, without getting bound. That is the key. It's very easy. It's so easy to get bound in thousands of ways, hundreds of thousands of ways. But to be free in that, to discover the freedom is the key. So to discover the freedom, again, there is intuitive realization that when we are connecting through mantra sadhana, through scriptures, through stotras, what the rishis have taught us, the different ways of connecting with God, we can connect with Paramatma through the foundation of Shraddha. Shraddha increases sadhana, increases the intensity of sadhana. And then from that, the jnanam comes, the anubhav begins as to what is in that path. ये अनुभव का प्रश्न है. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say someone starts worshipping Shankar Bhagwan or Vishnu Bhagwan, either one of them, let's say. And you start going on that path. So all of this internal stability and all that begins to happen. The Gita's teachings begin to come inside. Things like that really begin to happen. Then, what happens after that as you keep going further? Of course, there's stability and clarity, and there's a lot of joy in doing the sadhana. By grace, by krupa, Bhagwan reveals, God reveals himself, it's revelation. So what is the Shiv Tattva? Itself reveals itself. It's not just symbolism or mythology or hypothetical stuff. It's not like that. It's revelation. And that is where one sadhana takes a different level. One goes further to connect in an unbroken way with Paramatma. Bhagwan ke saath akhand vritti. Bhagavad Swarup mein akhand vritti. Akhand meaning without break the vritti. Then Paramatma reveals to us. If you don't go to that stage, We just get good peace of mind. Life is good. Things are steady. Do some satsang and all that and continue. Balance. It's all very good. A lot of benefit. Doesn't mean that God will necessarily reveal to us. Maybe some experiences may happen. But if you want to see God, in whichever way you want to see God, whichever way we're worshipping the Paramatma, that requires akhanda vritti. Ananyas chintayanto mam. And then there's a beautiful little poetic line written by Brahmanand Swami. Shwaso shwasa bhajana jabalage, टूटन देतन दोरा, नाथ छवि अंतर में निरखत, नाथ छवि नयनन में निरखत, जैसे चंद चकोरा, श्याम सुंदर रंग भीनी. Right? What does it mean? Shwaso shwasa bhajana jabalage, tutana detana dora. The bhakta doesn't break the link with the Ishtadevata for 1 second even. Just as the chakor pakshi, chakor is a bird that keeps looking at the moon, and then it kind of almost, when the moon sets, then it kind of falls over. It's almost like frozen almost. It's an analogy of that intensity, that oneness, that this is my goal and that's it. This is the ultimate Shraddha. Jaise chanda chakora, tootana detana dora, jaise chanda chakora. Shwas, I mean taking inward breath, outward breath. भगवत नाम, भगवान का अखंड नाम जो लेते हैं, कितनी बड़ी बात है. Our normal human mind is taking the names of all of these experiences of this jagat only, that we finish life like that. इसमें से कुछ नहीं मिलता, कुछ मिलता ही नहीं इसमें से nothing comes out of it except garbhavas, going back into the womb again somewhere. That's all. So shwaso shwasa bhajana jabalage, tootana detana dora, nath chabi अंतर में निरखत जैसे चंद चकोरा. भगवान की जो मूर्ति है वो अंतर में रखनी, वो सत्य है. इस श्रद्धा का, I explained last 4 or 5 days about this point. I won't repeat those points again now. We'll be stopping in just a second here. But to hold the murti inside, don't we have pictures of our family members and our pets and other things like that? We have videos, and there's the endless number of albums and all those things we have. What is that? That is holding them inside out of love. Fine, it's beautiful. Not out of attachment, entangled attachment, out of love. There's a big difference. Entangled attachment will cause rebirth. Love will not. Love is pure in its sense. And then that love expands. That's the difference. You see, so it happens with parents and grandparents and all that. You get very deeply engrossed inside the family. So what Vivekananda Swami said about this, as far as I know, bring divinity into it. Just put it into the God's form. Yeah, all these people that I'm loving so much, put it inside the murti of Paramatma. So the individualized egotistical attachment, egotistical meaning this is mine. Ye mera hai. Only Bhagwan mera hai. Nobody else. And that Paramatma isn't everybody. Then there's no issue. Then we live with so much. In fact, family life becomes fantastic. It becomes the best it can be. The moment we recognize that the Lord is present in all of our people that we are in connection with, kitni sundar baat. There's no conflict with anybody. The play of Maya continues. We can see it, and one is liberated. It's actually very simple. So this is the point, that Bhagwan ki jo murti hai, isme sab kuch hai. And that murti is within everybody. So that Bhagavad Murti, Bhagwan ki jo murti hai, uske saath, that is Lord, that is God. In any tradition, that is a way to go about it. So the point here, in summary, is that life is filled with all kinds of experiences. We have to live in the life in this world. Bhagavad Gita is not teaching something beyond our life. I mean, it is, but it is talking about how to live in this sansar without any kind of internal agitation or disturbance. That is called param shantim. Labhate param shantim, param shanti milti by following such a path, right? Which is what we're trying to do here. So let's stop here for now. We'll continue tomorrow. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Kripa Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche Om Glom Hum Klim Jumsa Jwalaya Jwalaya Jwala Jwala Prajwala Prajwala Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche Jwala Ham Sam Lam Ksham Hat Swaha. Om Durge Durge Rakshini. Tha Tha Swaha. Om Shri Durgar Pranamastu. Om Shri Radha Krishnar Pranamastu. Om Shri Lakshmi Narayanaya Namo Namaha.